So I pretend I'm Lance. We go out there. There's no way that they're going to let me out of their sight.
No, I think they will. If you agree with them that you're your brother, they know you'll bring the Bible back for the money. I mean, after all, that's why Lance stole it in the first place.
Yeah, that's right, but that's still
And see, once you get out of here, you can go to Sergeant Brubaker, and they can come and get me.
Somebody, please, I'm in here. Oh, Jeremy, you've got to have made it to Sergeant Brubaker's. You've got to.
All right, this is the plan. I will meet with this Reverend Guthrie. I will pretend that I am a reporter. I will tell him that I am giving him free publicity for his revival.
Which no poor clergyman could afford to ignore.
Naturally. He'll be so excited that there is someone there to cover his story. He will not become suspicious when I begin to ask him about the items the church has for sale.
And we will be close by to steal the Bible once you have
No,
located...
Samir. We will not steal it at that time. I will call you, and then we will plan our next move.
So, it is you again, Mr. Redland.
What can we do for you, Mr. Redland?
Okay, guys. I have to see the princess now.
I've heard less noise at a football game.
Hug me. I am the happiest girl in the whole world.
Oh, my goodness, and also the very strongest, honey. Now, let's let go before I turn blue now. Now, what's this all about?
It's about roses and sunshine and fields covered with daffodils.
Nancy, have you been drinking?
I have been drinking from the silver chalice containing the nectar of romance.
Oh, it figures. A man is involved.
Oh, Ione, he's wonderful.
I take it you're talking about this Brian fella.
Oh, yes. And I told you and Miriam, and you wouldn't believe me.
Oh, and the next thing you'll be telling me is that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs were there and you were served in the enchanted forest or something.
That is the word to describe exactly how I feel.
Oh, well, excuse me, Miss Enchanted. I was just on my way to fix myself a little dinner.
No, Ione, please, you haven't heard the best part. He is going to do surgery on my neck here for free. Can you believe it?
Oh, well, you do have something to be excited about. That's good news. Why don't you sit down and tell me all about it?
I mean, he's going to schedule me right away. I mean, this is the first breath of fresh air I have had in such a long time. I can't tell you.
Oh, Nancy, now, don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't be mistaking Brian's charity for genuine affection, would you?
Oh, Ione, it goes far beyond that. The way he sat there at dinner, he was so understated, so almost innocent. He's just so adorable.
Well, it seems to me I saw the same kind of excitement about Dan Myers.
Oh, Ione, Dan Myers is not even in the same league as Brian. I mean, when did Dan ever give me anything flat out? I mean, there was always a string attached to it.
Well, perhaps. Maybe Ione's being just too motherly again.
And besides, what could Brian want that I have? I mean, I'm broke. No, I think this is the beginning of a wonderful relationship. Oh, Ione, about being broke.
Yes?
This is kind of embarrassing, but I feel like
Well,
I
what
need
is
to
it?
talk with you.
What is it?
Well, I applied for a job as a hostess at the Greenbrier restaurant, and I know I'm going to get this job because I've applied the principles that I've learned through Domi, and I'm sure I'm going to get this job. But in the meantime, do you think that I could borrow $100?
Oh, sure, sweetheart. But there's just one thing I want you to remember. If you get this job, it'll be because the Lord answers prayers, not because of this Domi group.
Thank you.
Come on, hurry, Dave. This whole place is gonna go any second.
You go on, John. I gotta find her.
There's one last explosion that's gonna bring the whole place down.
Somebody out there? Hey,
Go get an ambulance.
All right, all right.
Hold on, Terry. I'm coming.
hurry up, get out of here! Hey, hurry!
Hold on, Terry. Terry.
Oh,
Everything's okay now. You're all right. How are you, okay?
Dave, I'm just scared.
Oh, come on, let's get out of here. This place is gonna blow any minute.
It appears, however, that your memory has failed you somewhat, Mr. Redlin. The princess does not give interviews.
Well, now, I can understand you wanting to protect the princess from the press. After all, it was members of the Fourth Estate that, shall we say, they're a little bit pushy. But now look at me, gentlemen. Do I look like that kind of guy?
Mr. Redlin, please do not take this personally.
I don't. So why don't we get started with the interview right now?
Perhaps you have misunderstood, Mr. Redlon. The princess does not wish to be interviewed by you or anyone else.
Look,
Now, perhaps you would please leave.
I am well aware of our Royal Highness's request. I'm also aware of the havoc that she's created in Kingsley since she's been here.
You might like to speak to your American State Department about that. It seems that their interpretation of events is a little different than yours.
Buddy, how long do you think you can hide behind that diplomatic immunity nonsense?
Until King Darsalam, the rightful heir to Doria, has regained his throne. And then, Mr. Redlin, we shall gladly leave this land.
Please forgive Samir. Sometimes his patriotism carries him away.
Yeah, I guess it does. Well, then maybe I can get a statement and a picture from the princess saying the very same thing, huh?
Why, what good would a picture do you?
I think it would serve as a sympathy towards her cause.
We have nothing else to say.
Well, that's really too bad, gentlemen, because I'm going to see the princess one way or another, face to face.
Did you not see her at the auction?
No, not really. But I will, and you can count on that. Have a good day, fellas.
Your Highness, I am afraid he knows of our deception.
Well, you said absolutely nothing to let him believe otherwise.
No, he is just testing me.
Exactly. If he knew anything about the deception, he could have confronted Janice in the newsroom.
I say we do not continue with this plan, Your Highness. He suspects us.
And if I don't show up at the newsroom, his suspicions will be proven, Samir. No, he says that he has not seen the princess close up, right? Okay. So then I can continue with my disguise. Besides, I've got to see McGovern about this revival story. I've got to meet with this Reverend Guthrie. He is the only one who has any idea of the whereabouts of this Bible.
Terry?
Is it over? Please tell me it's over.
Yes, I think so. I don't know how much more this roof can take.
Who's that?
I don't know, but don't make any sudden moves.
Dave, I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Don't worry, we're gonna get out of here.
Come on, let's go now. I've got to get out of here! I've got to get out of here!
Don't panic!
Dave, please!
Come on.
Hurry!
I'm trying.
Let me help!
You know, it all looked very important.
What's that?
Oh, your talk to Sergeant Brubaker.
Yes, it was that.
Well, I hope you don't think I'm being forward or anything, but and if I am, just let me know. But I was wondering if you could tell me what was going on. I mean, you know, I heard the part about the Dar es Salaam Bible, so I knew that's what... Right. I'm going back to my work, and I will... I'm sorry.
Janice, listen. First rule in being a good investigative reporter, you never give up until you get the answer you want. Got it?
So you don't mind my asking?
Gene, have you got anything yet on the primary results?
No, I don't, Walter. And, you know, in fact, I haven't even looked at the wire either.
Gene, I would think by this time you would have learned that there isn't much you can hide from your editor.
Hide? What are you talking about?
That folder you so deftly just slipped under your elbow?
Oh, what, this here?
Oh, what, this here? Yes, that. Well, let me see it.
Yeah, well, what are you expecting, some Kremlin document or something?
This is Janice Wright's application. How'd you get a hold of this? It's supposed to be confidential.
Walter, you know that if I stayed away from every confidential source, you'd never get the stories out of me that you're always asking for.
Huh? What's your interest in Janice Wright?
Well, we just had a little discussion the other day about birthdays, and I thought...
Oh, come on now, Redland. You can do better than that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Walter, there she is. Please, look, I'll fill you in a little later, so don't say anything, okay?
All right.
Mr. McGovern, I
I'll
was
be
just
back in a
wondering
second.
if you could... Well, you're right, Gene. He never changes, does he?
No, he never does change, Janice.
Well, I guess it's back to the old grind, eh?
Hey, Janice.
Yes?
You know, I had a talk with Carla, and we've chatted a little bit since that little incident that we had over at Walter's
Oh, yes, I
restaurant
know.
the other
I've
day.
talked to her since then.
Yeah, she's cooled down quite a bit. She's even smoothed over some of the hard feelings she may have been having. But we were wondering. We thought maybe you and a friend might like to go out with us one night.
Me?
Yeah, you. What do you say?
Well, I say that's great. Hey, you know, Gene, your wife really is a nice woman, and I hate leaving fences unmended. Well, when's the best time for you two?
What about next week?
You name the place, I'll be there.
There's no need for you to meet us there. I mean, Carla and I can pick you up over at your place. I mean, you do live close by, right?
Yes, I do live close by, but it's...
But where? I can find it. You know, Carla always did say that I have what they call a cab driver's nose.
Yes,
Yeah.
Well, I live in a hotel right over the Bay District.
Oh, really? You know, that's funny. I used to work over there.
Janice, I can see you now.
Oh, thanks, Mr. McGovern. Gene, I'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah.
Mr. McGovern, I was just wondering, I didn't do a story on him.
Yeah, Peter. No, your mother is just fine. She's just shaken up a little bit. Yeah, well, she'll be back to being Florence Nightingale in no time at all. She's at Dr. Phillips right now, and she should return sometime early this evening. Sure. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Oh, Mrs. Redland, thank you very much for letting me use your phone. I'm just sorry to bring all this chaos into your living room.
Oh, that's quite all right, Mr. Brubaker, but it was kind of you to let Peter know that his mother's safe. I'm sure this takes a load off of his mind.
A load off Peter's mind. You didn't see that house of cards. Terry and Dave weren't out of there more than 2 minutes before the whole thing just collapsed.
Lord almighty.
You can say that again, and I'm not a religious person, Mrs. Redland, and I can tell you what I saw this afternoon had to have been a miracle.
Oh, I'll say.
I'm sorry, there's another reason that I came over, and that's to let you know that I've uncovered something about the Dar es Salaam Bible that may involve you.
Me?
Yeah, well, Peter told Dave that apparently the Bible was in the back of his car and was mistakenly taken for the revival fund.
First you tell me two of my friends almost crushed in a building, and now you're telling me I'm riding around with a priceless treasure in the van and I didn't even know anything about it.
Well, Mrs. Redland, we're still trying to put the pieces together ourselves.
Oh, next thing I know, you'll be telling me that Gene's taking up bullfighting or something.
I realize it has not been a typical day, but do you remember anything about it? You know it was in the big case.
Well, yes, but Leon loaded and unloaded the van, and I was busy writing a note to Peter, and I really can't recall seeing anything.
Okay, now, if Leon took it, where would it be now?
Well, it'll be with the rest of the stuff that we collected, and that will be down at the meeting hall.
That's where they're holding the revival, right?
Yes, it might still be in the van. We loaded a lot of stuff in there, and it just might not be unloaded yet.
Good. I'll check it out. Oh, incidentally, is Gene still at work, do you know?
Well, he should be.
Good. I still have to see him this afternoon.
Well, you know, there's just one other thing that might have happened, and I'm hoping that it hasn't.
What's that?
It just might have been given away. It's not likely, but the possibility does exist.
Okay, thanks.
I hope you don't mind herbal tea. That's all I have left.
No, that's fine. I don't need the caffeine anyway. I think my nerves have had enough stimulation to last me the rest of the year.
Well, you wouldn't ride in the ambulance despite your doctor's orders. I tried to take you dinner at Suite 73 and you refused. And now all I can do is offer you herbal tea. You're ruining my knight in shining armor act.
Dave, there is something you can do.
What might that be?
Just hold me.
No. It's all over. It's okay now. You'll be fine.
There were so many times when I didn't know if I didn't...
Don't even say it. The Lord protected you. And now? Now we can get on with our lives.
Oh, I just want to spend some quiet time in a quiet place. Well, I think I'm ready for some tea now. Then I'm going to get cleaned up.
Okay. I called Ben and Vale.
Did you tell them I'd call them tonight?
I did, but they said they're coming home immediately.
They don't have to do that. I should have talked to him. Didn't you tell him I was all right?
Yes, but they said they were coming home anyway.
Is there something wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say that there was trouble in River City, but apparently the vacation didn't work out as well as they had hoped. But let's not worry about that right now, huh? You've had enough trouble for one day. Let's just say that they're worried about you and want to see you as quickly as can.
Okay.
Now, let's see how more comfortable we can make you.
Now, Dave, don't start sounding like me.
What do you mean by that?
As I recall, it wasn't too long ago, you were sitting here with your arm in a sling.
That's right, and you were treating me like a mother hen. I remember. But somehow I feel justified.
Well, as I did that evening.
Oh, okay. No mothering. You know, there's something else I remember about that night. Something that I've thought about every waking moment.
Does this have anything to do with those minor heart palpitations you attempted to remedy that evening?
You mean you're still experiencing the same symptoms?
Oh, I'm afraid so, Doctor.
Oh, Terry. And I've been thinking, I'm 45 years old, and I never thought I could feel this way again. After all the troubles I had, the drinking, jail, the trial, even Kate. I couldn't remember what love was like, let alone think I could experience it again. And when you were kidnapped and I thought I'd never see you again, that's when I knew that I want to take care of you. I need to take care of you.
In other words, you're glad I'm back.
No. In other words, I love you.
Thanks, Mr. McGovern, and I'll do my best, I promise.
So, you got to be doing a feature story over there at the revival, huh, Janice?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a colorful affair.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You know, my mother's in charge of the contribution drive.
No, I didn't know that, Jean. Well, look at the time. I've got to be off. I'm interviewing Reverend Guthrie. I'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye.
Excuse me. Hey, Gene.
John, good to see you. So, yeah, why don't you fill me in? What's the latest on Terry?
Well, she's safe, thank God, but she barely made it out of that building before the whole thing collapsed. I'm telling you, it was a miracle.
My. Is this the same Sergeant Brubaker, formerly of the Kingsley Police? recounting miracles now?
Listen, Walter, you had to know the circumstances. It was
He
incredible.
will, John. He will.
Yeah, well, what about the Dar es Salaam Bible?
Actually, that's one of the reasons I came over here. Believe it or not, Gene, your mother actually had her hands on that Bible.
What are you talking about?
It was accidentally donated to Kingsley Revival, and Reverend Guthrie's got it now.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Walter, didn't you just send Janice over there to interview the Reverend Guthrie?
Well, yes. Why do you ask?
Because I think our friend Janice has more on her mind than just a simple interview.